Welcome students in today's business studies lecture. So currently we are discussing techniques of scientific management given by F.W. Taylor. Under that we have already completed our first technique, that is functional foremanship, and the short trick to remind that. Now our next technique is method study. Method study is F.W. Taylor have given method study. Method study is just to identify the best method of producing the goods. So see students, for producing any goods there are number of methods, and out of that number of methods there could be possibility that some of the methods are cost effective and some of the methods are such a way in which more labor is required and more cost of production will be required. And for a company, in the previous lecture also I have discussed, for a company it will be a good situation when their cost of production is less and profit margin is more. So in order to keep in this mind, or in order to enhance the profit margin or quality of the organization, they should have to reduce their cost of production. And how the cost of production will be reduced? If a company will do a proper method study. That means there are so many number of methods for producing the goods. Out of that number of method, company should select one particular method which is cost effective, which involving very less chance of errors. The objective of method study is to find out one best way or method of doing the job, and why it will be doing, or why Taylor has suggested this, because it helps to minimize cost of production and maximize quality or the profit. If the quality will increase, then automatically profit of the company will also increase. So main purpose of doing the method study is to minimize the cost of production. So what is a method? See, when the goods are procured or purchased in the form of raw material, from purchasing the goods in the form of raw material till the goods are becoming in the converted in the finished form, or they are sold to the or delivered to the goods, all the things which are happening inside the factory, converting the raw material into work in progress or semi finished goods, then converting the goods into finished goods, then transporting it in the goods to the godown, then after from the godown transferring it to the wholesaler, then from wholesaler transferring it to the retailer, then from retailer the goods are ultimately reached in the hand of customer. So there are so many methods are involved while doing these things. Some of the things are, in some cases company directly go to the customers with the help of their agent. Some of the case company take the help of wholesaler. Some of the case company give the task to sell the goods to only to wholesaler. They don't involve retailer. Sometimes company or the organization, they themselves set up their own outlets, franchises. So there are different methods. So according to the suitability of the company, and in order to keep this point, cost of production, company should adopt a particular method in the organization. This is what the Taylor has suggested, that in the method study you have to select the best method. Our next technique is motion study. Here the meaning of motion means movement or movements. Movements means while doing a particular work, there are so many movements involved in it. Suppose I will give you the example of one worker who is actually working in the construction site. While he is laying the bricks for making the wall, again and again, and all the bricks are kept in the downstairs, and he is working at the first floor. So what happened? Again and again he is going to the downstairs. He is going to the downstairs, putting all the bricks on one bucket or in one tagari, which we are saying, keeping on it head, coming on the first floor, then using these bricks for layering in the wall. Again he is going back, again he is bringing back, again he is going back, again he is bringing this. So this will involve lot of movements. These are actually the movements. So what Taylor have suggested, that instead of going again and again downstairs, bringing bricks again there, going down, bringing bricks, going down, bringing this process will actually decrease the efficiency of the workers. He will become tired, his movements are more, so his efficiency will reduce. Instead of making one wall on one particular day, he could able to make only half wall. So per day wages will also increase. That's why what Taylor has suggested, that instead of going down and upstairs again and again, what a work manager should have to do is, or the construction, the person who is responsible for looking after the construction, or the foreman or supervisor, what he should do is, he should keep all the bricks on the first floor nearby to the worker will again take one brick, keep it in the layer form, and quickly he can form the wall. This motion study is actually helping to increase the productivity in the organization. This is one example I have given. There are so many number of examples in which a particular worker is doing so many activities while doing his work. So under motion study, what Taylor has suggested, that a good manager should always do a particular study of the movement of the workers. There are so many movements a worker is performing while doing a job. So what he is saying, that a manager have to look after, closely watch the movements of the workers, and from that movement he have to identify that which movement is useful and which movements are not useful. There are some movements which can be avoided. That's why this study is basically focusing on that thing only, to identify how many useless movements are and how many unuseless movements are there. So if there are any unuseless movement, unnecessary movement, that should be removed to bring out best from the workers. Again I am repeating, when I have discussed you the technique, I have told you this technique will help to increase the workers efficiency. So by doing this motion study, what will happen? Unnecessary movements will be reduced, so that workers efficiency will be increased. So what Taylor has said, that it refers to the study of movements like lifting. So what are the different movements? Are lifting, picking the goods, putting object, keeping one finished goods from here to there, sitting and changing position, etc., which are undertaken while doing a typical job. So there are so many movements which a worker is doing while performing his job. The objective of conducting motion study is to eliminate unnecessary and wasteful movement, so that it takes less time to complete the job efficiently. It helps to increase productivity. So what is the objective of doing this motion study? Why the Taylor has suggested this motion study? That by doing this, or by conducting this motion study, unnecessary and wasteful movement should be eliminated. I have told you that while doing work, there are so many movements we are doing. Out of that, some could be useful movement and some could be wasteful, unnecessary movement. So that unnecessary movement should have to be removed, so that it take less time to complete the job efficiently. So if the movements are unnecessarily removed, then worker will take less time and he can perform his job efficiently. It helps to increase the productivity, and it will help to increase the workers' productivity. So this is our two techniques we have discussed in this lecture. One is method study and another one is motion study. Next is time study, that we will discuss in our next lecture. Thank you students. Stay tuned and keep learning. Welcome students in today's business studies lecture. Now in this lecture we have to start with our fourth technique of scientific management given by F.W. Taylor, that is time study. It is a technique to determine the standard time. Standard time. Now question here is the standard time. What do you understand by the word standard time? Standard time suppose means, and before understanding this standard time, let me remind you that these techniques of Taylor's given by F.W. Taylor's are applied in a factory. Is it clear? Again and again I am repeating the same point. So now what is the standard time? Standard time is, suppose for producing one box in a factory, it requires half an hour. This half an hour is actually a standard time. Or for producing one box, it requires half hour. For producing two box, it requires 1 hour. And normally if a worker is working for an 8 hour in an organization, and out of that 8 hour, if 1 hour we take as if for his lunch or rest interval, all normal altogether he is working for 7 hours. That means in 1 hour he can make 2 boxes. That means in 7 hours he can make 14 boxes in a day. If a worker is working with his full efficiency, he can make in one particular day he can able to make 14 boxes. In 7 hours making 14 boxes is actually a standard time, and this have to be carefully determined by the factory manager or by the supervisors or by the managers in the organization, so that workers efficiency and workers wages can be fixed accordingly. The skill and efficiency to perform a well defined job, that is, this time studies objective is, why to do time study is volume and frequency of the task, to determine the volume and frequency of the task, that how much work can be done and at what speed. Cycle time of operation, that how much time is required to perform one particular task. Time measurement cost, whether the cost incurred in making one product is according to the time or not. So the objective of time study is to determine the number of workers to be employed, frame suitable incentive scheme. Incentive means giving them proper wages and bonus, extra income, and determine labor cost. So this is a time study in which particular standard time have been fixed and accordingly workers are determined. Next study is, that is, fatigue study. The word meaning of fatigue is tired. What Taylor have told that or suggested that on regular time basis workers fatigue study have to be done. That means if the workers are engaged more on physically and mentally work, then you cannot expect worker to work for longer for 8 hours continuously without taking rest. So a person is bound to feel tired physically or mentally if he or she does not rest while working. The rest interval will help one to regain stamina and work again with the full or the same capacity. Fatigue study is that study only in which you are identifying according to the system of working that how much, which kind of work they are doing, so that how much rest interval should have to be given to the workers. Because if worker will continue work for 8 hours, then their stamina will decrease. This automatically for us also it will be applicable. That's why fatigue study seeks to determine the amount and frequency of rest interval in a completing a task. Next technique is differential piece wage system. Differential means different. Piece means per unit of output. Wage system, this means wages should be paid according to the number of units produced by the workers. In this scheme or by this scheme, Taylor has suggested that through this scheme or through this technique, efficient and inefficient workers can be classified. This I can explain. I have to explain you with one example. Suppose standard output per work per day is 10 units, that we have discussed in the time study, standard time and standard output. So standard output is fixed as a 10 unit. That means whosoever worker, if they will produce more than 10 units, say as 11, 12, 13, they will be paid wages according to the 50 rupees per unit. And all the workers who are producing less than 10, say 9, 8, 7, 6, they will be paid wages according to the 40 per unit. So now Ram have produced 11 units, more than 10, then he will be paid wages according 50. Then wages will be paid 11 into 50. Means he have produced 11 units, so his wages will be according to the 50 per unit. So 11 into 50, that means he will get 550 rupees per day. He is a efficient worker because standard output have been fixed as a 10. Whosoever will produce more than 10 unit will be efficient and less than 10 unit will be inefficient. So differential piece wage system is actually classifying efficient and inefficient worker. Sham purchased 9 unit, that is less than 10, so he will be paid wages according 40. So 9 into 40, 360 rupees per day. He is inefficient worker. Actually now my question here is, why this kind of wage system have been introduced by the Taylor? What do you think? I know so many have you getting some different answers, but let me make it clear. This system of giving wages have been actually introduced by Taylor, so that a worker who is producing goods or unit more than standard output, he will get more motivate, his morale will increase, that next time he will produce more and more good. And the worker who are not paying good, who is not getting good wages, will also next time motivate to do the goods. So this system is actually implemented to differentiate efficient or inefficient workers, so that both of them can be equally motivated to do good work in the organization. And the last one is standardization and simplification of work. Standardization here means to frame a particular benchmark. Benchmark means to fix a particular standard, that up to this standard you have to produce the goods. While workers are doing the work, in the initial stage only you have to introduce that, or you have to inform that this is the benchmark and you have to produce goods according to the benchmark. You cannot able to, or you can't able to compromise with the quality. And simplification means goods should be of simple. It doesn't mean that you are compromising with the quality. Simple means there are so many organizations, or there are so many products available in the market which are producing variety of goods. For the toothpaste, if I take the example, only for the toothpaste, they are producing toothpaste with toothpaste with salt, toothpaste with sparkling glitter, toothpaste with for sensitive teeth. There are so many different varieties are produced. So while an organization is producing this many varieties, sometime it happens that workers will get confused. That's why, in order to reduce that chances, what a manager is saying, that goods should be of simplified nature, although it have their own importance, but unnecessary goods are not to be produced. Simplification aims at eliminating unnecessary variety, size, dimension, etc. While standardization means process of setting standard for every business activity. Standardization means fixing one particular standard, and simplification means removing unnecessary varieties. Standardization of process, raw material, time, product, machinery, method of working, condition. There should be standard for everything. These standards are benchmark which must be adhered to during production, and these are the benchmark which every worker in the organization have to follow or how to abide while working in the production unit. So this is all our 7 techniques. Let us remind once again. First is functional foremanship, then we have discussed method study, then motion study, time study, fatigue study, differential piece weight system, and the last one is standardization and simplification. So here we are completing with our second chapter, and in the next lecture we will be starting with our third chapter. Thank you so much, students. Stay tuned.